Do you live in a house or an apartment? I live in a 3-bedroom apartment with my family. The house is not that big, but it's the perfect size for the 4 of us to live comfortably in. It's very cozy and comfy. Who do you live with? Well, I live with my family, like I said. Well, my parents and my younger brother and myself. My dad works in IT and my mom is a homemaker. And my younger brother is a college student. What room does your family spend most of the time in? I think my family spends a lot of time watching movies, playing board games, and having tea together in the living room, which has a big TV, a couch, and a nice coffee table we recently bought. How do you keep healthy? There are several ways that I do to maintain my health. One of them is that I work out on a regular basis. Well, I do ride a bicycle often, which is fun and good for both physical and mental health. And I usually go bike riding whenever I have some spare time, and it's usually on weekend. What are your favorite sports? Well, as I said earlier, I'm quite into cycling these days. It helps me to control my weight and get into shape. Plus, it's so much fun. So whenever I go for a bike ride in the park, I don't get to think about all my worries. I mean, it definitely allows me to clear my mind and, kick out the stress. Are there health classes in your school? Yes, I had PE classes when I was in school, and they were always among my favorite classes. I love to learn how to play sports like basketball, dodgeball, and stuff. Well, I remember my 5th grade PE teacher who became my role model. She was so warm-hearted and had a great sense of humor. She sparked my interest in sports. What sports help people stay healthy? There are plenty of sports that can really help people stay healthy. Activities like jogging, playing tennis, riding a bicycle are great examples. They help you to reduce stress and control your weight. What cities do you live in? I live in Seoul, which is the capital city of South Korea. It is a big city which has everything from modern art galleries, great shopping places, famous restaurants, as well as huge city parks where you can enjoy picnic. Are there big changes in this city? There has been a lot of changes actually, but the most noticeable change is that there are a lot more high-rise buildings, huge shopping centers, and well-managed city parks with nice walking trails and tennis courts and all. Is this city your permanent residence? I don't think so. I mean, you never know what will happen in the future, right? I might decide to live in another country for good. So I wouldn't say that Seoul is my permanent residence. Describe an interesting old person you have met. Okay, I would like to talk about my Uncle Jay, who is very interesting and a lot older than me. I love Uncle Jay. He's such an interesting person. Well, first of all, he's very witty. I mean, he has such a good sense of humor. He's the person who always makes silly jokes to brighten the mood. And his jokes are hilarious. Well, plus, he's very warm-hearted and considerate. He thinks of others before himself and always gives a hand to the needy. Actually, he does a lot of volunteer work. He usually volunteers at the local hospital for sick children. Well, in addition to that, he's very successful in his career. He teaches English to children for a living. He's running his own website, providing online English courses. He's quite somebody in his field, actually. Well, and I've seen him struggle with his work, but he never gave up. He stayed committed to his goals. I really respect his strong resilience and the way he moves forward. So a lot of people around him consider him to be their role model. Yeah, he's definitely an inspiration. I've also learned a lot from my Uncle Jay. He's absolutely the most interesting old person I know. Do you think old people and young people can share interests? Yes, absolutely. A lot of young and old people share their interests. There are many hobbies that people of all ages can enjoy, like watching movies, listening to music, and so on. For instance, I'm so into classic rock music, I can play some songs by guitar. And my grandma also loves acoustic guitar songs, so I often play her favorite songs, like Yesterday or, Hey Jude, when I visit her. What can old people teach young people? Well, there are plenty of things they can teach, like life skills or some history and wisdom and many other things. For example, my grandpa plays guitar very well, so he taught me how to play Hey Jude. Well, I had so much fun learning from him, and he was definitely the best tutor ever. Is it easy for young people and old people to make friends with each other? Well, it really depends on the person. What I mean is that if the old person is open minded and willing to understand the culture of the young generation, the person would have no problem making friends. For instance, I'm quite close to the old lady next door. She's very open minded and warm hearted. Also, she's very witty, so we had no problem becoming friends. I like her so much. Are there benefits when one person is interested in another person? Why or why not? That's quite an interesting question. Well, of course, there are a lot of benefits. Being interested in somebody is such a wonderful feeling, and they can strike up the friendship from there. It's enjoyable to share common interests and do something fun together. Do you think people are more selfish or self-centered now than in the past? Well, it's hard to say. From my perspective, it hasn't changed much. It always depends on the person. Well, some people are super selfish. On the other hand, some people always think of others before themselves. So I'm not really sure if people nowadays are more selfish than those who lived in the past. What benefits can people get if they are self-centered? That's an interesting question. Let me think. Well, people who are self-centered tend to focus on what they want and desire first. These are always their priorities, so I guess it can be a good thing to be a little selfish when it comes to achieving certain goals they want.